Hi everyone, and welcome to my first video on this channel. Today, I'm here to talk about a good resume versus one that stands out. Regardless of the industry, title, or position, you'll likely be asked for a resume. A resume is a clear indication for the company to determine who you are and what you can bring to the table. Now, as recruitment is becoming more and more challenging, it's critical to stand out in order to get that first round interview. Many companies receive thousands and thousands of applicants, and they now use artificial intelligence to filter out their candidates. That's why it's important to visit your company's website and learn more about them. Taking those extra couple minutes to do your research and background on that company can be the differentiator between an automatic rejection versus getting that first round interview. I remember the first time around I was applying for internships. I thought it was just a numbers game. The more applications and resumes I send out, the higher the chances of my acceptance. And while yes, you do have a higher likelihood of getting accepted, it's very unlikely to get the company that you are looking into, and you really don't have much say. That's why it's always best to do your research and understand who you are wanting to work for. There was this one company that I once sent a copy-paste resume from another application to, and within about 30 minutes or so, I received an automated rejection. As crazy as that sounds, that just shows the competitive landscape when it comes to applying for internships and even full-time positions. What I plan on sharing today is a general rundown of how a resume should be formatted. If you do have any other questions though, feel free to comment them below and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So let's get into it. The first rule to writing a resume is to make sure you don't exceed a one-page limit. Especially for someone in college or a recent graduate, you don't have as much professional experience, so maintaining that one-page limit is very crucial. Many companies actually filter out their applicants based on this, so making sure that you are following the guidelines is critical. If you do have extra information, however, that does exceed that one-page limit, it's okay to decrease the font size to anywhere that's around 10 to 12 and increase the margins just a little bit more. Always double check when you're doing this because you don't want it to be printed or electronically sent differently. Starting at the top of your resume is your header. I like to keep my header simple. I like to include my email, phone number, and LinkedIn. If you're a comp-sci or CS major, then having your GitHub might help because it shows recruiters projects and experiences that may relate to that profession or field. I try not to add my address because many companies don't send out paper mail and I find it as a waste of space. The next part to your resume is your objective. Remove your objective. There's no need because companies already know what your objective is. It's to get a job. So removing that extra 2 or 3 lines that you had left for that is very critical for information that you're going to be using for other sections of your resume. From there, if you're in school or graduated less than 5 years ago, you should have your school or education section up top. You really want to mention a couple things when it comes to this section and no more. You want to mention where did you go to school, what did you study, what was your GPA, and when did you start and when did you graduate. How you format it is entirely up to you, but feel free to visit my website, ryanrafi.com, if you want to learn more or look at templates. When it comes to your relevant coursework section, remove your relevant coursework section. There's no need because it's presenting redundant information that companies are already going to know about you. If you're a business major, they already know you took econ. And if you're an engineer, they probably know you took calculus. So incorporating those informations is not really critical to what you're presenting in your resume. But again, like the objective, the relevant coursework section is adding information that's not really necessary, and you want the meat of your resume to be more important information. From here, we move into the experience section. Now, whether you label this as professional experience or work experience, or even just keep it general to experience, is entirely fine and up to you. When it comes to the experience section, however, I cannot stress this enough. Be active. Go beyond your classroom environment and learn more about what your profession might entail. This shows recruiters that you're ambitious in working towards your goal, as well as gaining experience into what your profession might entail. Having internships or job experiences during the summer or during the semester is very critical, but always make sure that you're not going overboard. Try not to have more than 4 items on your resume as present because, let's face it, with school, family, friends, and our personal lives, there's only so much we can take on in 24 hours. For the projects and research section, this can either be a continuation of the experience or you can break it down into another section, depending on how it relates to the prior section. Now, depending on your major, you may want to have this more specialized within research conducted in a lab or we might have projects that you completed in coursework or outside of the classroom. These projects can be things that you did in your coursework or projects that you picked up along the way. Notice how you subtly mentioned this without having to directly mention relevant coursework. Personally, in my third year, my colleagues and I developed a brain channel interface on the weekends. If you're interested in learning how this applies to what I do as a consultant, definitely leave a comment below and I can make another video on that. If your major is in the sciences or engineering, then having research experience is a plus because it applies what you've learned in the classroom. With that being said, research doesn't have to be working in a lab stirring test tubes. There are different types of research, so if you do want me to elaborate and go more into depth, definitely comment below and I can explain. The last section in your resume should be left for your extracurriculars. Remember, follow in your passion. There is no such thing as a right or wrong extracurricular unless you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you think that joining a certain club or organization might help you stand out for grad schools or certain recruiters or companies, that's not really the case. They want a more well-rounded applicant who follows in their passion. Take this as an opportunity to do what really interests you. Personally, I got involved with Jewish Life on Campus, which taught me how to market events and network with other individuals. Also, be sure to subscribe, you don't want to miss my networking video. Now, if you've done all this and you still have extra room on your resume, then you can add an interest section. I try not to have more than 3 or 4 lines in my interest section, and how you want to frame it is entirely up to you. If you know more than one language or a software program, you can definitely explain that there as well as present your fluency. Personally, I like to add a hobbies line because it's a great conversation starter during interviews and it kind of adds a little bit more than what is expected from me in classwork and projects. Remember though, if you are going to add an interest section, be sure to keep it professional, but also keep it fun and very light. Depending on the position and my relevant experiences, I tried to follow the 1/3 rule. I kept 1/3 of my resume to my experiences, 1/3 of my resume to my projects and research, and 1/3 of my resume to my extracurriculars and interests. I think that by following the information that I presented in this video, you should have a stronger resume and one that does stand out, especially amongst others. With that being said, I hope that you found this video helpful and be sure to comment below if you think that there's anything else that I was missing. If you do want more information, definitely visit my website, ryanrafi.com, to learn more. Thank you, until next time.